Hi everybody, Professor Jim here. We're still talking about statistics. There's plenty to talk about with statistics. Welcome to Professor Jim Rock's Math. Glad to have you with us. And right now we're going to talk about the bell curve and then the empirical rule. And this will be a short video, and we'll start with the bell curve. The bell curve is also known as the normal curve. So if you hear it's a normal curve or standard normal curve or a bell curve, they're almost the same thing. Bell and normal curve are the same. Standard normal curve, they came out with different percentiles that are calculations. Okay, so that was taking the normal curve and making it percentile worthy. Yeah, not worthy. They made percentiles out of it. So we can tell percentages for stats. Okay. Anyway, let's just take the regular bell or normal curve here. Okay. Looks like this. Looks like a bell. Okay. Half of the numbers are on the left-hand side. Half of the numbers are on the right-hand side. In the middle are our three measures of central tendency: mean, median, mode. They all start with M. Middle starts with M. It's an easy way to remember the three. Okay, so they're at the high point because the average and the middle number and the number that shows up the most, they're right in the middle. Makes it easy. Where they switch from going in the curve, where there's a turn in the curve, is called an inflection point. And there's one on the left and there's one on the right. The left is like going up a roller coaster where it changes, and on the right is where it starts smoothing out after the ride down the roller coaster. Anybody been on roller coasters? Okay. They don't usually start this far down, but then they take a nice steep dip like this. Then I always used to have to, make sure my hair was straightened out after the roller coaster. Just kidding. Okay. All right. Anyway. Okay, so that's the bell curve. We're not going into all the percentages, all the percentiles anyway, right now. But we are going into percentages. Okay. Something's called the empirical rule. That means within one standard deviation, we remember that from the previous video. These are approximately. So you could say, okay, Professor Jim, it's not really 68%. It's 67.9830406%. We'll call it 68% for short. Okay, so this means between a standard deviation going from the mean, median, mode to the left-hand side, up to one standard deviation on the right-hand side includes 68% of all the numbers. So you say, well, what does that mean? Okay, let's take college students. Let's say we're at a particular college where the average college student works a part-time job that's 20 hours a week. Okay, so that's the mean, right? That's our average. Let's say that varies by, we calculate standard deviation, we have the numbers we need, we grind through the variance that we did last time in the video. Last time we didn't have to grind because it was only 5 numbers. But let's say, this is a little bit more, we have to grind through some numbers. Okay, no big deal, we subtract a few things, multiply a few things, we add a few things, we divide a few things. Okay, let's say the standard deviation is 2 hours. Okay. Normal curve-wise, over here, would be 20 hours. Would be in the middle. That's our average. Okay. 2 hours would be one standard deviation. So we take our 20 hours and add 2 hours, and we get 22 hours. Take our mean, 20 hours, the negative standard deviation, subtract 2, and we have 18 hours. That means at this particular college, students work 20 hours, give or take 2 hours, are one standard deviation. So they work between, 68% of them work between 18 hours and 22 hours a week. Okay, then we go further out. This will be 95%. Again, it's rounded. Okay, it's rounded to 2. When we do a standard bell curve or standard normal curve, we'll see it's actually 1.96. But for the purposes of knowing the empirical rule, we'll round it to 2. Okay, so 95% of the students are going to be working between -2 standard deviations and +2. So we take our mean. On the high side, our standard deviation is 2, right? So now we have 2 standard deviations, so now we have to multiply. Okay, so we have 20 plus 4 is 24 hours. Put it on the chart. Here we go. All right, and on the other side, we're going to subtract 2 standard deviations, right? So we have 20 minus 4, so that's 16 hours. We'll write that down. So 95% of the students at this particular college are working between 16 hours and 24 hours. All right. One more time. 3, right? 3 covers a lot. Three standard deviations with a normal curve or standard normal curve covers 99.7% of all the numbers. And these normal curves go all the way to infinity and negative infinity. So they just keep going. So if you have 99.7%, there's only 0.3% left remaining for all the rest of the curve, and half of that on each side. So this is the bulk of everything. All right, we've got our 20 hours, right? 3 standard deviations. It's 20 and 6, 26, 20 minus. So on the bottom end, we have 14 hours. Top end, we have 26 hours. So 99.7% of the students at this particular college work between 14 to 26 hours. And that's the empirical rule, also known as the 68, 95, 99.7 rule. Okay, that is that for statistics. Brought to you by our sponsors at Luigi's Pizza at Roxbury Mall in Succasunna, New Jersey, the home of their new retro, actually it was their old menu, traditional menu is now retro menu. See Paul and tell him I said hi. Thanks a lot for watching. You can subscribe. We're going to be having plenty of videos. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.